¿Qué estás pasando? Simulation. Okay, there we go. Lordy have mercy. And there's my. Let me check my anything. Yes, thanks for letting me know I'm live. I appreciate it. I'm gonna make sure my sound is sounding. Hi, yo, 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 yo. Wait, what's happening? What's happening? I don't know. Hi, Cookie Delicious. Hi, Cookie Delicious. Okay, sounds working. That's all that matters. Great. Oh my gosh. How are you doing? I feel like I'm a chicken with my head cut off right now. Oh my gosh. Lord have mercy. It's I was having a very hi Kai. I was having a very relaxing morning doing work but still relaxing. Hi Rory, 123. And then right when I'm about to clock out, I'm like, okay, let me check this thingy one more time before I clock out. Let this person know that I helped her. Only to see a major problem. And I was like, ah, oh my gosh. Hi, Anne. So then I had to message the lady and was like, so that thing that you asked for my help on, yeah, I think the work I did may not have helped at all. Mind you, it's an area I'm not familiar with, something I've never done before, or just like I'm not used to this part of our platform. And so I didn't even see that there was a problem until in the end when I was like, let me just go back and check really quickly, only to see things different. And I was like, what? So, hi, Amanda. So I'm like, I don't know if I really helped you. Okay. Sorry. And then I'm also trying to prepare something else. So my I feel like I am all over the place right now. Oh my gosh. Did I say hey Amanda? Hey Amanda. So y'all have to excuse me because I'm failing at life right now just a little bit. Hold on. Let me make sure my volume of everything is turned down. You said someone is hyped. I'm not even sure. I'm not hyped. I'm just a little psyched right now. Just because of work and some things that have happened. This is why I don't like working on that particular thing at my job. Every time I see it, I just get this daunting feeling that something's going to go wrong and I'm just like and something went wrong. Maybe it's because I went into it with that mindset. I don't know. But I'm like scrambling. I was like, oh my gosh, if it's bad, just let me know. I can find some time today and tomorrow to try to do it again if that's okay. I'm just like, oh my God. I feel so incompetent. Like dreadfully incompetent. I hate messing up like so much. That's just like the story of my life because I'm used to always having done something wrong. And so every time I see something, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like you guys should have seen me when I first got this job. I was so nervous because it's a lot of stuff to do and to remember, and so many alarms need to be set and everything needs to be accounted for. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this? And then like every little mistake I made or every little thing I forgot, I was like, oh my God, they're going to hate me, they're going to fire me, I'm about to get fired. I was like, they're going to revoke my promotion. Oh God. I mean, I'm still here after a year, so it's okay. Well, almost a year. It'll be a year in February. You said you think it's the QJJ effect? Maybe. The exhaustion hyper mode. I did go to sleep late and still my body was like, wake up early. So, but surprisingly, I'm not exhausted. He said messing up is a pain when I'm unsatisfied with how I did and my standards are a bish. LOL, Mari Chan. Did you actually manage not to read in between Wednesday and now? I did. So, somehow I have not read I have not read forward because I was just like after the way chapter 25 ended, I was like, I seriously want to keep reading. But we have a live reading session tomorrow on Patreon. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. Like, what am I doing? So it's just been, yeah, it was rough. Like yesterday, I was extremely tempted to read. Like, I was just like, I mean, I could just read it by myself and then just read it again, in the live session. It's whatever. It'll be a different experience, because one's in my head, one's out loud. And I was trying to justify cracking this book open. But I didn't. I've been a good girl. I've been patient. Okay. So y'all just bear with me. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so giggly right now. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm embarrassed because of what happened at work, and the lady hasn't been able to fully respond yet because she's in a meeting, and she was like, I'll clarify things afterward. And I'm like, so, sometimes people laugh when they're embarrassed. I also laugh sometimes when I'm angry or really distraught about something. Um, like yesterday while I was painting, I listened to you and some really difficult parts. And there were parts where I was listening to myself cry, and I just felt so sad all over again. And I just started laughing because I was so sad. Oh gosh. But yes, I haven't read QJJ. I need a trophy or something. Your Wi-Fi doesn't like you to. Hey, Wi-Fi, like NFS, looking directly into the camera and talking to you. Okay. Okay. He said those chapters were too enjoyable. Indeed, they were. They were. Okay, Anne's Wi-Fi, get it together. Okay. All right. Cool. You said a non-defined tiger anxiety. Oh, that painting is amazing. Oh, thanks. Ah! It's falling. This is my second one. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. But yeah, this was my second attempt at the one I shared in Discord. Because I always just like to paint something twice. Not always, but sometimes I like to paint something twice and see like what I can do differently to make it look different. So, wait, I'm trying to make sure I turn the right way. So that's that. Nevertheless, I'm proud of myself because, I'm putting in some work. So, putting in work. Anyway, sorry. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna paint next though, because I have no idea. Thank you, Cookielicious. So today, let's see, we're at 2:07. Okay, I'll stall a little bit longer. Hi, Stacy. You said, colors on the first are better. Usually it's the first one where the colors are better, like they're more vibrant, and then on the second one, it's a bit more muted. Like it happens every time I repaint something. I don't know why. I don't know what be going on when I do one painting compared to the other. Like sometimes I feel like so the colors are more vibrant in the first painting, but I feel like my control in the second painting is better. I'm trying to find a way to mesh both of those things together so that the first time can be a success, but we'll see. You said change device, hope it's better. I hope so too. So, anyway, how have you all been enjoying QJJ thus far? I mean, I know for sure that, like, I think Anne and FS, you guys have been enjoying it because I've been seeing you guys' comments on Patreon, and it's just a wild ride. You know what happens with me when you on impulse take a pic of something and then stop and retake it. I always end up liking the first one better. Yeah, I think there are certain aspects I like about one better, but then aspects about the other I like better. So I can never say, oh, I like this one better than that one. I'm always torn. So like, yeah. Anyway, I do think with this one, I like the first one better, but I kind of like what I was attempting to do. It's something I've never done before. I like what I was attempting to do with just like the slash across. I just didn't successfully do whatever it was I was intending to do. So there's that. Oh gosh. You said, "Oh, yes." For those of you who don't know, Anne rants, and I don't mean Anne Rand, the author, which Anthem is a very good book, but Anne rants on Patreon, and it's just always funny. Like I will read everything. Sometimes I don't comment on all of it and just like certain sections, but I'm like I'm gonna read all of your comment because it just be interesting to see your thought process. You've been rereading it on the side again. So, does this technically count as a double read? I think so. Like when I first started this channel and I started reading Thousand Autumns, I was reading it out loud to you guys, and then I would go back and listen to the entire. Well, I don't do that now, but go back and listen to the entire thing again to make sure there were no mistakes anywhere as far as like audio. I mean, I still miss some, but I would try to make sure certain things weren't just like cut off basically. And I counted it as a double read because each time I was listening intently. It wasn't passive, it was active listening. I was engaged with the story. So I counted it as a double read. Yes, if you have a chart, go ahead and mark this twice because you're reading it twice, okay? Huh. You say I need to stop doing that though cuz my suspicions turn out true. Yeah. Wasn't it you? I think in you were like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna shut up now because something you said came to pass," and we were like, "Ah!" So, yes. Oh, you said I only read till volume 2 like 3 years ago. Oh, well, so it's basically like starting over again for you then, yeah? Yeah. Oh, no, the Wi-Fi is too bad. Can you use well, not everybody has it. Can you use cellular data? Would that help? I don't know. I don't know. You forgot most stuff. Yeah, that's usually how it is. Stacy, you said you are loving it. Right up your alley. Yes. It's one of them books I love more and more each time I engage with it. Translation is truly sleek and no charts. Okay. Everything I said in you was coming true. Yes. And you were like, yeah, I'm gonna just shut up now. Because it was like, and stop talking. Be quiet. So anyway, I'm so glad to have you all here today. Who out of you all have read chapters 20 through 25? Which, like I said, we're not covering that today. We're actually going to cover it tomorrow. After Patreon's live reading session, we're going to cover those chapters and these, I guess, whatever chapters we 20 to 25 through whatever we read tomorrow. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So it'll technically be another live discussion, just a more limited group. But anyway, it means you proficient reader. It really does. It means you're that in tune. You are that in tune that you were able to see what's going to happen. You said you did. You did. You haven't read 20 through 25. Well, listen. Yeah. Cool. So, just as a reminder to everyone, because we're about to get started, please do not spoil anything for chapter 20 through 25 for those who have not read it today. It was released early enough to listen, but just in case, for those who didn't, let's not talk about those chapters. Yes. Because I just shut your mouth for once. Yeah. Oh, you're driving? Yes. Be careful while you're driving. Yep. Um, yes, you are gonna cackle. When I laughed so much, I had to stop recording several times because I was like, okay, at this point, it's gonna be like 2 or 3 minutes of me laughing. So just just ignore all of that. NFS said I cackle so much. She thinks of me as a cackle or something like that. So yeah, I had to let go of some of those cackles because it would have been like half the recording would have just been me laughing, and y'all would have been like, "Where's the actual story?" Because I laughed so freaking much. So anyway, Yeah, I just got off work not too long ago before I hopped on this, which is why I said I feel like a chicken with my head cut off. Nevertheless, we are going to review chapters 14 through 21 today. Um, does anyone need any covering of chapters 6 through 13 at all? Or really any of the chapters, I guess, before 14. I just felt like maybe we didn't need to discuss since I gave a lot of my thoughts on those at the end of the recording just to make sure like we were all following along. But if it's necessary, we can touch on a couple of things really quick if anyone has questions. So I'll give you guys your shot. Not driving right now, you're at work. Oh, you're leaving in an hour and a half. Okay, cool. You will shush. You said I'm a cackler. Your laughing made my day because I was also laughing a lot. Ah, I can't help it, you guys. I can't. Um, but yeah, anyone need review of the chapters before 14? If not, we'll get started with 14 through 21. Also, for those of you who aren't on Discord, I did create, it was very tedious, a character chart for up to where we are now. And I created a family chart, which is essentially the character chart, but I erased all the people that aren't family or basically that don't necessarily matter on the family chart right now. And we'll be going over that here, but then I will share it on the platforms for you guys to refer to. You say you giggle a lot. Leaving occasional is the best decision. Yay, charts, I need them exactly. Okay, so it looks like no one has questions or comments about the previous chapters. Oh God, I'm all the way on chapter 26. What are we doing? So let's get started. And I'm literally going through what my notes say. Okay, that's that's what I'm doing, and I'll just make sure that I'm looking at what you guys say. You say you will need to look at that chart later. Yes, I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'll share it here first, and then upload it. Why didn't I upload it? I could have easily done that in case someone wanted to pull it up on their own device. I don't know. When we get to it, I'll upload it and then we can talk about it. Okay. So, let's get into chapter 14, which was entitled Praying Mantis, which I think is a cool looking little buggy bug. Anyway, so we have in chapter 14 where Shun Tran asks Ge Qingqing to ask Xiao Fuzi, who was Pandru Gui's little junior eunuch, if you will, to give him medicine, okay, because he was ill. And mind you, this is when we're still younger. So we're in the younger days right now. Let's just go put that out there since we did hop forward about 5 years. Um, Yes, praying mantis is a part of the oral thing. Yes, yes, yes. Which reminds me, that is a common expression in Mandarin. Uh, I don't know. Someone remind me to put that on my list of Chinese expressions about the praying mantis and the oral whole thingy. But anyway, so hi Sigrid. I need to figure out how to pronounce your name correctly. Is it Sigrid or like Sigrid or Sigrid? Probably not Sigrid. Ignore that attempt. Sigrid? Sigrid. I don't know. Okay, anyway. So now, starting with chapter 14, like I said, so in the past, when they were still kiddos or whatever, but like late kiddos, Shuntran was ill a lot for obvious reasons, after his beating and everything and staying in the Temple of Guilt, which was not insulated very well. That's the word I'm going to use as far as like it was cold and all of that stuff. Okay. So he had Gu Ting ask Xiao Fuzi for medicine for him since he was ill. And then he just like pretends to show, if you will, this like devout to the emperor and to the empress when he sees them one day. And of course, he's like, I've been planting veggies and I've been having them sold in the morning market because since I'm in the temple of guilt, like, what else is there for me to do than to pay for my father's sins kind of thing going on? And it was just like, oh, okay, look at you. And so Xiao Fuzi then tells Ji Gang to meet him at the West Gardens because he was too busy. Okay. You said sounds fine. Sigurd. Okay. I mean, I hope I'm saying it right though, for real though. So anyway, Xiaofuta can't come and deliver things to the Temple of Guild. So he's telling Tigang, meet me at the Western Gardens because I'm too busy. Um, you didn't say he looked like this. Yes, we're getting there. Where was I again? I'm sorry. He heard Xiaofuta. Okay, so at one point he was going to like he was on his travels. Jigang was on his travels, and he heard from inside the carriage. He heard Xiao. He said right that he heard Xiaofuta talking about making things difficult for Prince Chu. Okay, and I think it's also important to note something really quick. Just hold on, let me look really quick. Trying to make sure I'm not missing something myself. Okay, so anyway, Jigong said that he heard Xiaofuzi talking about how he wants to make things difficult for Prince Chu. And so the emperor says that what he is going to do. Wait, do I have this on the right thingy? Hold on. Yes, is hand out some punishments. And again, this is for. Oh my God, what happened to my notes? One second. One second, you guys, because I don't want to make sure I get myself confused. So just like pause for one quick second. Okay, what am I doing? What happened on my page? Okay, yeah. To make it clear, this is because Xiaofuzi is dead. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what happened and why he's dead. So anyway, because Xiaofuzi is dead, the emperor decides that he's going to mete out punishment. Right? We have him telling that he's going to give Xiaofuzi confinement for a month in his manor. And then Jile and Sigu An have 3 months of their salary completely suspended. And he doesn't want to escalate the matter anymore because he doesn't want to upset the Libe family. So the thing is, I'm sure, just in case anybody doesn't remember, Xiaofuzi got the shit beat out of him by Prince Chu. And then a guard stopped him and was like, hey, don't kill him. Next thing you know, he's dead. So, okay, there's that issue right there. So, because Xiao Shuye decided to own up to to beating him up and everything, that's why he's being confined. Although he said, I didn't kill him, but I just beat his ass. So, anyway, those were the punishments. Then we have on page 147 where the Empress Dowager decides to state her opinion about Shan Zichuan. You said, whoops, dead. Like, oopsie, I didn't realize I beat him that badly. So then after Shan Zichuan gives his testimony, like he was like, I was sick, I was just getting medicine. And then Jigong was like, I was just going to get the medicine, but then I heard he was trying to make things difficult, and everybody's punishments got meted out. Then the Empress Dowager was like, you know what? This child, Shan Zichui, he is nothing like his dad. We can absolutely use him. I think he has shown his earnestness. He's shown a repentant heart. So we can definitely use this boy. And of course, the emperor was like, the dude is sick. Like, I can't use him for anything. But she suggests, that he Sorry, my phone went off. So anyway, he was like, his health is poor, so I can't use him. And so she's like, yep, you're right. Excuse me. I spoke out of turn. And that just is what it is about that. But he ends up getting sent to the embroidered uniform guard, which is really nice. At this point, we don't know what his station will be. And as we know, there are many different stations. I can't remember all the names of them, but there were a lot of them. And so then we have moving on. The Empress hates that the Emperor, I'm sorry, let me say Empress Dowager. I feel like Empress and Emperor are far enough apart that you would be able to hear the difference when I'm speaking, but just in case, the Empress Dowager hates that the emperor doesn't want to offend the Xiao clan. Why? Because of course he will try to make decisions that are in favor of them rather than in favor of her. But at the same time, he also doesn't want to make decisions that offend her. So he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with trying to appease the Empress Dowager, but also trying to appease the Xiao clan because these are not some people we want to offend. If you guys remember in earlier chapters, it was said that the Xiao clan, they are great in numbers, very great in numbers. You said she can't control him anymore. No, she absolutely cannot. And so yeah, she's just saying how much she hates that, but she is biding her time because I think it was her niece that mentioned, you're having these problems with him, he's not being obedient, and she's like, that's okay. As long as we have an heir, we're fine. And they're resting all of that on concubine way that that the emperor will get her pregnant and then they will have an heir, someone that she can raise from the crib to the walking and running and stuff to do her bidding that she wants done. So she's like, it doesn't even matter, we'll be fine. And so she tells Pandrugwe to monitor the emperor's health. I'm sure we all know what that means, right? To make his health deteriorate, because that is definitely what my note was like. It was like, suspicious. Actually, it says, um, this is suspicious as hell, is my note. So anyway, then we have even at some point when Shan Zhiquan, Jigong, and Grand Mentor Qi are talking, and they're talking about His Majesty's health has been poor, but it's been getting worse. And they're like, he's in the prime of his life. Like he shouldn't be this sick, basically. And he was like, I'm sure that they got something to do with it. And I was like, oh, that was my suspicion as well, that they have something to do with it. So anyway, moving on from there, then we move on to page 150. Let me turn there. Or did I literally just say that? Oh, yes. My note literally just says little flirty McFlirt flirt action going on. Because we just have Shantatren and Xiaoqi. I'm not going to read it. But every time they flirt, I feel like I'm just going to have to point it out because why not? Because, Xiao Chuye is basically saying like looking at Shantatren is all the entertainment that he needs. He's like, you just look so good, right? I can't keep my eyes off you, basically. And so Shantatren is like, oh, that's too great an honor. So it's just funny. Whenever they flirt, I'm going to have to point it out. But that's not really relevant to the plot. I mean, it is, but it isn't for understanding. So anyway, Shunzitran points out that the emperor protected his brother, Prince Chu, the idler. And it's interesting because when I was reading this, because they're saying, Prince Chu, Li Jianheng, he's just idling his life away. And because of all of the suspicions and everything from Yuwu, I was like, oh my gosh, is he really an idler or is he just pretending to be an idler? Right? I'm thinking maybe the emperor only protected him for looks. These were my suspicions as we were reading, but of course we learn a little bit more as we continue to go on. So anyway, because I'm thinking about like I was equating Prince Chu to Mu Zhonglian. basically. Not necessarily because he's not doing ephemera or anything like that. However, it's just what I was thinking about. You said, are you guys just talking about their dynamics? Yes. So, moving on. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, yeah. Actually, yeah, that was pretty much all that was in that chapter. Pretty much. There, the Empress Dowager is like the Emperor doesn't have long left. We don't know when he's going to breathe his last. It doesn't really matter. As long as we have a babe from Concubine Way, then Great Joe will be in the Hua clan's hands. So then we move on to chapter 15 and 16, because I lumped my notes together for those. Hold on. So chapter 15 is called Oriel. Chapter 16 is called Tempest. So in this chapter, right off the bat, we do learn about some new characters, and I'll pull up the chart eventually. But we have a new character that comes in, and his name is Si Hong Xuan. Si Hong Xuan, and he is Si Guan's younger brother. For those of you who do not remember, Si Guan is basically the military commissioner of the 8 great battalions, and his younger brother is Si Hongxuan. So on the same day that Shunzi Tran is going to get his token for the embroidered uniform guard, Si Hongxuan is hosting a feast for all of the upcoming scholars and promising talents of Chudu. They're about to chill and have fun together, have marvelous conversation. No, really their conversation is about Shunzi Tran. That you said, and it's a mutual one, not one-sided. Yes, exactly. So all of these upcoming scholars are talking about Shuntitran. They just can't stand the fact that the emperor has not only released him from the Temple of Guilt, but given him a position in the embroidered uniform guard. And they're like, I just don't understand how it is that we are going on with something like this. It makes no sense. His father was a traitor. The evidence is conclusive, even though it wasn't, you know. And and they're like, this son should bear the punishment of his father's sins. And so they decide, well, before they decide to do that, we are introduced to another character who is Yao Wen Yu, which nothing much comes from him just yet. So I'm literally just mentioning him, but he's supposed to be a beloved pupil who just has immense talent, right? Anyway, Shi Hongxuan is basically talking in a way to get everyone on board with figuring something out about Shanzichan. And so what he says is, I'm afraid this will give all the heirs of future damned officials a loophole to exploit. And it says specifically that the idea incensed the scholars. So we know that Xi Hongxuan saying that was very pivotal in their mindset and was like, oh, hold on, you're right. We cannot stand for this. Also, because Yao Wenyu was mentioned. Yeah, let me go ahead and show you guys this picture. This is Yao Wenyu. He's a little cutie, isn't he? Yeah. You said just make believe accusations because you said the blue robes guy, he is smart. Yes, well, right now his robe is gray. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding, but I'm just kidding. So, anyway, he didn't really have much to contribute to the conversation, but Shi Hongxuan said this sentence, and that incensed the upcoming scholars. And so they were like, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on a strike. We're going to kneel before the emperor or his palace, if you will. Maybe not necessarily right before the emperor, because they'd have to get past the guards and everything like that, right? And we're going to stay there until he changes. He is not only going to revoke the Shuntitran being part of the embroidered uniform guard, he is going to mete out a heavier punishment. Because what are we doing, Emperor? Like, no. So then we have a new character introduced, and that is Qiao Tianya. And if you guys want the character chart up now, just let me know while I'm talking. But anyway, so Qiao Tianya, he is the embroidered uniform guard judge. Okay. And he is the one who gives Shuntitran his token. And he also thinks that Shun Zhuchuan is hot. I just felt like it was needed to say that out there. You said, "Oh, the multitudes of Marie." So right off the bat, I was cool with Xiao Tianyao's character. We're not going to talk about what happens later, but I was cool with this character because he showed Shen Zichuan just like common human respect, basically. He was like, "Oh, you're hot and you're coming to get your token. Okay, cool. Well, here it is." And then let me see. Did I mark the exact page? Yes, I did. I feel like he was giving a warning to all of the embroidered uniform guard, basically saying, like, everyone here is our own. We treat our own good, we respect our own. So, in other words, regardless of his punishment and all of that stuff before, he is here now. So, that's all that matters. You shouldn't read QJJ at night when your brain is not functioning properly. Please don't. Mm-mm. I will not be reading this if I'm too tired to understand. So he's telling everyone, respect him, basically. And Shun Chen is being put in the elephant training office. Now, for those of you who need to know, the uniform guard has four groups. The first group is those whose sisters work in the palace. These people, they don't do military service, they don't get a salary, but they're there. Group two of the embroidered uniform guard are people who get recommendations by the palace eunuchs. Group three is for those who are born into military households. They just take up the mantle by default, basically. And then group four is those who have specialized skills that were directly appointed by the emperor himself. So those are the four divisions, if you will, of the embroidered uniform guard. He said he literally pointed out, oi, no harassment. Pretty much. Oi. Yes. And so again, Shanta Chan is in the elephant training office. And at first I thought that was just the name. That is not the case. It is the name, and it gives us exactly what it is that he's going to be doing. So anyway, after this, Shunzi Chan, he's going to be in that office or whatever. Then we move to these 3,000 Imperial College students on a hunger strike. I was like, dang, that is a lot. And so, since they're all on this hunger strike, what we have is the great 8 battalions going to Xiao Churye and giving him the honor of dealing with it. Elephant poop shoveling. Yes. So they give him the honor of dealing with it, really because they don't want to deal with it. Because in truth, if Xiao Churye upsets them in any way, if he offends them in any way now, then when they get into their positions and everything, then it's going to be Xiao Churye's butt on the line. And they didn't want to have to deal with that. They didn't want their butts to be on the line. So even though he is on house arrest, is what I'm going to call it, they were like, hey, if you handle these 3K, and I think it was Prince Chu that went to tell him, I was like, if you can handle these guys, then you're good to go. Okay. So, and your sentence might even be lifted, from a month to 3 weeks or 2 weeks. Who knows, so, or just like a day. So he's like, oh, great. Yeah, that's just great for me because he already knows that this is really just like a potential setup to put him on the back burner to set up his future for awfulness. Is that a word? Yes. He thought that was a great scene because student protests in China parallel. So then, going on to chapter 16 now, which is Tempest. I'm glad I made this mark to let myself know when I was on the next chapter. Xiao Chuye tries to speak with the students first. Indeed, he does. He tries to speak with them. He doesn't immediately go in and is like, shing, shing, shing. But he's like, do y'all know what y'all are doing? He's like, actually, he was like, where were y'all 5 years ago? Like, if y'all would have done this 5 years ago, maybe the dude would be dead. And of course, this boy, I'm going to call him Gao Zhongxiong. I don't know if he's important. I did not put him on the character chart. But anyway, he's like, better late than never. It's pretty much where he's at. And so it's just like, oh, okay. He's like, look, the imperial edict is from the son of heaven. Do you think he's gonna put it out there and then immediately rescind it? Like, what do you think you're doing? Why are you insisting on making this appeal? Like, it's just not gonna happen. And so he's trying to talk to them. They won't budge. They will not budge at all. And so then we have Xiao Tianya from the embroidered uniform guard who arrives with Shen Zitren, but he comes just like a second later, right? And so then again, we see Xiao Chuya and Shen Zitren flirting a little because, because how could they not? In fact, let me just go to their little flirty McFlirt flirts because. Okay, yeah. So when Xiao Chuya sees him, he was like, "Oh, you didn't waste any time going to get your token, basically." And he was like, "And I see that your token has been returned to you as well." And so he said, "Cough, cough." And so, they're talking with each other, and he's like, "This protest is aimed at you, but of course, we know the real target is the palace." And he was like, "What did you do? Like, how did you set this up?" And he's like, there's no way I could have set this up. He was like, and this is an important line, if the real target is the palace, one wonders who is praying for his majesty to fall out with the Hua clan. Surely Argonza knows better than I. So Shunta Tran is basically saying that somebody wants essentially the power that the Empress Dowager has over the emperor to wane, right? And for them to fall out with each other because we need them to fall out with each other for whatever the reason, but we need that to happen. And so they're talking under the umbrella and everything. And, he's like, you must be happy with your position and blah, blah, snore. And then Shunzi Chen says, it just so happens I have some insight on taming ferocious beasts. Yes, mind you, yes, they're in front of 3,001 people. They're in front of the 3,000 students and Xiao Tianya just flirting away. And so he was like, I wouldn't call it insight, but it's a conversation between two like creatures. So he's also calling Shenzi Chen a ferocious beast. And then so he's just like, they're like, I'm not trying to entertain these kinds of conversations, says Shunza Tren. And then he was like, if I get kicked again, like, what can I do? And then Xiao Chuya is just like, just use your fangs. Essentially bite again, right? So it's just, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk on their flirtations any longer because we can spend forever on it. Anyway, Xiao Chuya says that if the scholars die, it is going to be on Shan Zitren. It's going to be on him, right? So then eventually, Pan Zhugui, this is the Empress Dowager's main eunuch, and he also is by the emperor's side all the time, the one who is monitoring his health. He arrives too. I'm like, dang. So we got Xiao Chuya, we got Xiao Tianya, and Pan Zhugui, and and Shen Chen. Everybody is there. Okay, let's just throw a party together, right? So he arrives, and he and this Gao Zhongxiong, yes, they go head to head with each other. Pan Zhugui, first off, is like, dude, do you know what you're doing? What you're doing, I don't think he calls it treason, but he's basically like, you're slandering the imperial court and the people. Oh, he calls them treacherous. No. He doesn't call them treacherous toadies. The guy calls him and everybody else treacherous toadies. But he's basically just like, you guys are being dishonorable to the emperor and you are tripping right now. And so Gao Zhongxiong is like, you guys are a bunch of treacherous toadies. There are a bunch of people in the imperial palace, especially the Hua clan, that is colluding and doing things that are very corrupt. And we're just tired of seeing it, right? And even Xiao Tianya is on the side and he's like, man, we can't get them with the carrot or the stick. Like, what do we do in these circumstances? And so they're going toe to toe with each other. And at first I was like, Gao Zhongxiong, like, you might lose your life for this. Coming at the eunuch like that, like I'm a little concerned. But yeah, he goes toe to toe with him. And I was like, there you go, sir. And so eventually, Gao Zhongsheng gets choked. And then all the scholars go berserk because of something that he says. And he's basically standing his ground. And he's like, if I have to die for this, then so be it. And so the rest of the scholars are like, yeah. And yeah, they start going crazy. And Jile arrives. He's protecting Panjugui. That's Jile is the chief commander of the embroidered uniform guard, but he's also Panjugui's godson. And he's protecting his goddaddy, of course. And he's like, you guys what are you doing? Are you inciting a rebellion? What the hell is wrong with you? And so there's just a whole bunch of chaos going on in all of this. And then we switch scenes in the middle of this, right? And we come to find out that Jigang was following Mentor Chi's orders, and he is the one that was able to get this stuff started. Like, this was their plan that was created for these scholars to do this very thing. Anyway, then, where do I have it? I said page 169. Oh, yeah. I did that. So that's the end of that, basically, that we learned. And Jigong, of course, is like, I want to make sure that Shunta Chen is protected. His safety comes first. And great mentor T is like, sometimes you got to put safety aside for the bigger plan, my guy. And this very thing that we're planning, this very thing that is taking place, might be the thing that saves his life later on. So then we go to chapter 17, entitled Turbulence. And I don't know why I needed to do that. That was wholly unnecessary. Please do not mind me. Let me look at these comments really quickly. We are introduced again to the height difference. Yes. The flirtations are peak, though. Why not linger on that? Who cares about plot? You're so right, because who cares about the plot when their flirtations are the plot, right? So, hi, it's your first time here. Well, it's nice to see you, Tiglis, 1982. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Oh my gosh, I think I touched a handprint to my glasses. Bruh, I can see close up. Anyway, welcome to the live session. It is nice to see you here. We are simply discussing the chapters that have been released up to chapter 21. So we're currently on chapter 17. We started at 14, but it's so good to have you here. Welcome to the Multitude Mari Chan Club. No, I'm kidding. That's not what this is called at all. So now, chapter 17, Turbulence. We have directly on page 177, because the Empress Dowager is awakened to be informed who's gonna bottom. They both give top vibes. Right now, my mind's eye thinks that Shunta Chen would be the bottom. So that's my personal opinion. I know there's no smut until the end, and we'll see. But I'm thinking, and I mean, you could think that maybe Shunta Chen would be the top to tame the ferocious beast, like he said. But at the same time, Xiao Chuye also called him a ferocious beast. So if both of them view each other as ferocious beasts, I don't know. And typically speaking, in Danmei, at least Danmei that I've read so far, there hasn't really been much switch happening. Even if it's mentioned, like our poor Binga wanted to switch. Well, Bing Mei wanted to switch so bad. It's usually never mentioned. So I don't know. But I'm going to say that Shunta Chen would probably be the bottom. You said power bottom? Oh, yes. He definitely could be a power bottom. I could see that. So let us place your bets. Okay. Yes, you are instructed to shh. So on page 177, we get a breakdown of the emperor's recent actions. Hold on. So we have where, of course, His Majesty, but this is the Empress Dowager talking right now. She's talking to Hua Xiangyi, her niece, her favorite niece, right? She's been woken up to be told about the riot that's going on, if you will. And she's saying basically she knows that His Majesty favors the Xiao clan. And he wants to have their favor as well, and but he knows that Xiao Jiming already lost his younger brother. And so everybody in the Xiao clan wants Shen Zitran dead. And as long as he lives, his majesty is letting down all of those soldiers that lived, right? Or that are living. And even technically, the ones that are dead, but they're dead, so they won't know. And so, Xiao Jiming is a soldier who has been so loyal and so faithful to the emperor. So to not kill Shen Zitren to appease her, the Empress Dowager, is really just like a slap in the face to them. But he wants to avoid offending the Dowager. And so he dismissed that death sentence, just locked him away, trying to meet in the middle. But by trying to appease both sides, he is offending both sides. That's why they say you can't please everybody. Not everybody, but everybody. You can't please everybody, you know? so and so then we have also for him to shield Prince Chu, the emperor refuses to launch a full investigation on Xiaofuzi's death, right? Which thwarts Pandrugue's attempt to move against the prince. And it's like at the same time, the emperor is worried about the Empress Dowager holding a grudge based on how all of that turned out. And so that's why he released Shen Zitren. So again, it's a lose-lose situation. You are going to frustrate somebody. But in the end, he really ends up frustrating both bodies, the Xiao clan and the Empress Dowager, even though she's biding her time, right? She's like, fine, he don't want to be obedient anymore. Let's knock up Concubine Wei with his seed and then raise that child and we'll be just fine. So she believes that someone, the Empress Dowager, that someone from the 8 great clans are who instigated the students to have this craziness go on, this rioting going on. And so she asks Pandrugwe to investigate this thoroughly for her, of course. And like I said, she's just like, we're just going to wait on that air. That's what we're relying on at this point. Both bodies. Oh gosh, yes, both bodies. So then moving forward, I lost my spot. The emperor states that Xiao Chuye was right to because he has Jile and Xiao Chuye come to see him. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And they explain, well, Jile explains what's going on. And Xiao Chuye is actually acknowledged by the emperor. And he says, it's actually a good thing that you did not let the embroidered uniform guard detain the students. Because of course, Xiao Chuye's perspective is like, these are our future, like, upholders of society, basically. And many of them are very smart. Many of them are literally doing this for justice. They want to have an honorable court, right? So I don't think we should just be getting rid of these people, locking them up, killing them, throwing them away, and all of that stuff. And the emperor is like, yeah, you're right. All they were doing was expressing their opinion. Like they weren't trying to take the throne or anything like that. They were expressing their dissatisfaction with the decision that I made. But they still need to get a punishment. We're going to reduce them from 2 meals to 1 meal a day, and then half their stipend. That's what we're going to do. And I was like, you know what? I can appreciate that from the emperor. I don't have any liking or disliking for the emperor because I just don't trust emperors, especially after Yuwu. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't like or dislike the emperor. I'm just going to acknowledge when he does things that I like and acknowledge when he does things that I don't like and acknowledge when I have suspicions. So I appreciated the emperor in this moment. He says society who appreciates smart, educated people in this economy. You said you weren't mad at this decision. Absolutely. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good decision. Like from 2 to 1 meals a day, that's not bad because technically speaking, humans don't even need as much food as we think we do. That's why a lot of scientists and dietitians are talking so much about like the 1 meal a day or even living fasted lives. They'll be fine. They'll be just fine. So, um, so anyway, Xiao Chuye is willing to give. Oh, I'm sorry. So when they leave, Xiao Chuye is beating around the bush just for a second with Jile, but then eventually he's he makes it known that he has his eye on a piece of land that he wants for the Imperial Guard. And he's like, if, basically, he knows he probably won't get it if he asks for it, right? Because he asked for funds before, and well, we saw how that went. So he's like, but if you ask, they're gonna give it to you, you know? And so he was like, whatever you want in exchange, you can get it, my guy. And Delay's like, I got a godson. Give me some horses. And he's like, I got you. You can have these horses. And so when Delay leaves, his right hand man, Chun Yang, is like, dude, that's a waste of horses. And he's like, hey, there's no such thing as a free lunch. We want a favor, we got to give a favor. You know what I mean? And so he's like, if he don't fulfill his part, I'm gonna kill his godson. I was like, okay, Xiaoqi is tiny bit unhinged. just a little bit. That's how I read that. I'm gonna kill his godson and take my horses back. I just added in that part, but that was not said. Let me see. Smart, educated people. Do you want fries with that? Never trust Emperor fully. Never trust a bunny. Right? Because you can pull them out of hats. And that's very unexpected. So we don't trust them. You trust a bunny faster than the Emperor. So, yes. So we have that. They're going to do that little thing. And he's getting it for the Imperial Army. Like I said, he wants land that is outside of the capital where they can train. And this is something that I was already anticipating, not necessarily a little bit unhinged, just a little bit, just a little bit. 一点点. So this is the part, of course, I'm not saying that I predicted this exact motion or this exact thing, but from the moment that he was handed over to the Imperial Guards and the first day that he went there, I already knew that he was going to do everything in his power to whip them into true shape, to make them not just some errand boys who got a little muscle on them, but to really like build them up to where they used to be. And so when he was asking for this plot of land, I was like, yeah, I already know what's up. Mind you, Chile is ignorant and he's truly not wise if you think about it then, because he doesn't even see this. Like he doesn't have this insight to know that, if I give him a plot of land, they could use that to train because they're being monitored, by the embroidered uniform guard, by all of the Hua clan people, to see that they're doing nothing, to verify that they are still useless, basically. But Xiaotria is asking for land where it would be less likely for the Imperial Army to be looked upon, to see what they're really doing, to see them training for real, not playing games like Jile assumes. He's like, well, you just want more land so you could play football, so you could play basketball and golf. These are the sports, you know? And so he's like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna make sure that it's far away enough. I think it was like 3 hours away. Yeah, 3 hours away. But we're going to make sure it's far enough and land an area that they don't patrol. So very, very smart guy. Just so I say, as I continue reading, I like Xiao Chuye's character more and more. My guy, I see you. So anyway, then we hoppity dop dop to another scene, and that is with Xi Hongxuan. This was the guy, remember, who threw the little feast for the scholars, and he was the one that said something that made it click in their minds. We need to do something about this. And what does he do? Um, he is meeting up with Shanzi Chen. So let me see. Let me go back to my note really quickly. Yes, I said that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's what I just said. Okay. Yeah. So basically, he is meeting up with Shun Tren and they're talking. And basically, Shun Tren is like, we got some stuff going on here. You want to get rid of your brother. I want to get rid of Gile. Let's figure something out, work together to get rid of these guys, because we're tired of them. And of course, Shanta Tran is like, I mean, you really helped pull this all together for me. And so Shi Hong Shan is like, what do you have against Ji Lane? And he was like, I don't like your shoes. And so there was that. That's how that chapter ended. Drink water every time they flirt. You'll die of water poisoning. I do need to drink some water though, now that you mention it. That water's good, and my thing is not nearly filled enough as I think. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, so now we move on to chapter 18. I have a note that's crooked. Why is it crooked? Oh no, it's fallen. Don't mind me, you guys. Okay, all is well. Chapter 18. This is very grotesque. We're going to cover chapter 18 and 19 together, I believe. Yes. Starting with 18. Called Donkey Roast. I will say, for what happened in this chapter, I was not properly prepared for it. But I kept reading. I made it through somehow. So we have Xiao Chuye, who got his drilling grounds secured, and it is 3 hours away. Yay. He said, y'all. So it's 3 hours away. There won't be any 8th grade battalions patrolling there. There won't be any embroidered uniform guards patrolling there to see what they're doing. And he knows that he has to play nice with these people right now if he wants to get something from the Ministry of Works, because Shun Yang is still like, dude, like, why are we being so nice? Why are we trying to do blah, blah, blah? And he's like, dude, you got to play your cards right, So anyway, he gets invited to another feast by Prince Chu, because Prince Chu likes to party, right? You said gave you TA vibes. Yes, I said that in the recording too. I was like, oh, flashback, but like 10 times worse. I knew what you meant. So anyway, he goes to this party and there's like, okay, so is everybody here? We're gonna get started, whatever. Anyway, this party is at Huixiang Tavern. Don't know if that's necessarily the most important detail, but anyway, they go to this tavern and he's like, are we ready to get this party started? And Prince Chu is like, there was one more person to invite, someone that everybody's been wanting to talk. I mean, everybody's wanting to see. And who is it? Shunzi Tren. It's Shunzi Tren. So he steps in. He's surprised to see Xiao Chuye, and it shows on his face, which is uncharacteristic. And Xiao Chuye is surprised to see him. It's like, oh, 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 oh. So they both see each other, and it's just like, whoa, hold on. So, and then Shunzi Tren goes to sit right next to him. Right next to him. And it's just interesting. Because also we have Shunzi Chen and Si Hong Xuan pretending not to know each other. Mind you, in the previous chapter, they were just conversing with each other about their little plot and schemes with the scholars. And so everybody in the party is going around talking about just how beautiful Shunzi Tren is. And his mother was a courtesan and the finest there was. And so it's like, how could you be anything less? And he's just like, oh, I'm not that beautiful. And they're like, oh, well, let's ramp up what we're saying. Like, oh, if you were a woman, then forget the Hua clan. Like, everybody would have been after you, basically. So that was quite interesting. Then so yeah, he's beautiful beyond compare. Then we get to page my god, I'm sorry, before we get to that, we're gonna go to page 190 because I need to point out exactly how Xiao Chuya was seeing our beloved Shunzi Chen. This man was looking at his neck. Mind you, yes, I believe in previous chapters, it was Shantatren who was like looking at his body, but he even told Ji Gong he's got a nice build. But on page 190, Xiao Chuye saw Shantatren with his head slightly lowered, his face unreadable. It said, the nape of this man's neck, bathed in the dim light of the nearby lamp, rose from beneath his collar like creamy white jade. It seemed defenseless, just waiting for the touch of another's hand, as if by caressing it, one could reach ecstasy. The contours of his profile were smooth and beautiful, and the bridge of his nose sloped charmingly. But the but the corners of his eyes were devastating. All that one could it could make one's heart itch to want to know what lay beneath them. And the shadow of a smile seemed to rest at the tails of those upward crescents. This man is whipped. Oh, just by his neck, the slope of his nose, the curve of his eyes. I cannot. I will say I have definitely found things attractive about my husband, but I don't think I've ever looked at my husband's neck and just been like, I think I could reach ecstasy if I touch it. I'm so sorry. I can't stop laughing. Now, what I will say is I have noticed something about like certain things about my husband that I just truly appreciate around his eye. Like he has a birthmark around it, and I think it's super cool. But otherwise, I'm like, the neck? No, let me look at my neck. Like our neck's really that attractive. So anyway, I'm so sorry for please stop for the sake of my sanity. I'm sorry. You say you're surprised he wants to touch the neck and not bite it, for example. If anything, he probably wants to touch the neck so that Shunza Tran will get angry and then bite his neck, probably, because he just loves being bitten. That's what I'm going for. Because he was like, use your fangs. I'm gonna have to get a fan for when I'm laughing. Give me just a second, y'all. Oh my god. Because now it's hot. I'm back. Here's my. Did I drop my notes? Here's my other fan, my African fan I told you guys about. But it's like this. Remove the hook. And then. What? My husband got this for me. I was like, okay. I feel like a baddie. Okay, anyway. Anyway, so let me just fan myself a little bit. So then we move on. Finally, Pandrugwe, after Xiaofuzi has passed, this will put it that way, that he has passed, Pandrugwe gets a new assistant eunuch. And this assistant eunuch is called Feng Quan. He's there at this party with Prince Chu. Okay, I won't. I won't eat shrooms at all, though. And so Feng Quan is there, and he just ruins this entire party. How does he ruin the entire party? He decides to send a message directly to Shunzitren. He's like, I got this amazing food, you guys. I think you should try it out. And so he brings out a donkey. And while I was reading, I was like, okay, put the donkey in the dirt? I'm like, wait, dirt? Who's eating dirt? I'm like, is this donkey alive or something? Like, what? Wait, huh? I was completely disoriented because I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it, but I need to go there because I'm trying to think of the exact wording that had me like, wait, huh? One second. that just oh yeah, so he's like, you guys ever heard of a donkey roast? Yeah. Okay, here it is. It said they drove the donkey onto it. There was a deathly heat sorry. The attendants dumped some soil on the floor and deftly heaped it into a tiny mound. They drove the donkey onto it so its hooves were buried and its belly brushed the surface of the soil. And when I read that, I'm like, what? Are we huh? Are we serving a donkey like off of dirt? And then I was like, no, it said they drove the donkey. So I'm like, no, the donkey's still alive. We're not gonna read that. But basically, he tortured that donkey, slicing it and then boiling it or whatever to serve it just right then and there. And it's just like the most cruel thing ever. Like, why are we doing this? What did that donkey ever do that you couldn't just kill it like a regular human being and then serve it? Why are we torturing it? And the thing is, this scene, apparently I heard that some people skip it because of the animal cruelty, but it's important to the plot. Why is it important to the plot? Because Feng Quan then goes in to say that there is a deeper meaning to this donkey roast. If a man falls into the hands of another, he puts himself at their mercy. And so he's saying this donkey is in the mercy of my hands. And I'm like chopping it all the way up. Your Wi-Fi is so terrible. It only now sent the notification for live on Patreon. Well, I'm glad that you're here then, because what are we doing? Um, but yes, he's like, if a man falls into another's hands, he puts himself at their mercy. If his master tells him to kneel, he must kneel. If his master wants him to cry, he must cry. And if his master eyes his flesh, he must allow himself to be carved. In other words, we have you, my guy. You are our donkey. You must do whatever it is that we want you to do, even if it hurts you. Even if we are trying to antagonize you and do something that will end up making your life miserable, you got to do it. And I don't know why I didn't highlight this here. Maybe just because it's at the end note. But this is such an important thing. The cruelty that he showed that donkey was basically saying, this is the cruelty that we can show to you. And even if we do, you got to deal with it. And this message, yes, this is a message that came directly from Delay, which of course, why would it not? Because Delay, he was the guy who, from the very first page of this story, was the interrogator of Shuntatren and has been so mean to him. And now Shuntatren is his subordinate. Of course he's going to be meaner, so he's directly under him now. So that was the message that was sent. And it was just, that was awful. Anyway, let's move on past that now. Let's see. Where am I? Oh, I was like, how did I go back in time? Now, okay, so of course, Feng Quan is like, Shunzi, this was for you. Why aren't you eating it? And Shunzi was about to answer, but Xiao Chuye was like, the fuck you mean? And he just like made everything go crazy. He flipped everything over because he felt offended as well. He was like, what am I? I too am a donkey in this situation, and I'm offended as hell by this. So flipped everything over, and then he was like, Feng Quan, slice it up and eat. Which also I was like, $1,000. Because when that thing happened, the thing that happened with Shun Xiao when the donkey meat was delivered and how it was delivered, and he made them, I'm trying to say it without spoiling things. And then he was like, eat it, eat all of it. I was like, yeah, tell him to cut it up and eat it. And eventually, it actually cuts that out. Like, we don't hear about him eating it until a little bit later. But yes, Xiao Chuye forced him to eat the donkey meat until he threw up. And then eventually, he ran out on his own. And it was like, yeah, because dude. Um, You said we did not appreciate that. Yes. But so we have that. And then we get to chapter 19, which is entitled Truth and Lies. And this is where we get more flirty McFlirtflirt. Actually, it just says, oh, the flirting on my note. So here they are again, flirting. And because they had met, like once the party was over and everything, everyone was leaving. Xiao Chuye left and he kicked a plant. Shunza Tran straightened it back up and he was like, you know, you have to pay for this. Do you have money? And he's like, I got plenty of money. And then the guy comes out and he's like, okay, he has the money. He can pay it to you now. And then Xiao Chuye pulls out some empty pockets and he was like, just put it on his tab. He's got plenty of money. So then we get to chapter 19, Truth and Lies. So here, like I said, more flirty McFlirt. And Xiao Shirya is just like, if you're gonna make up stories, like just put some effort into what it is that you're doing because I need you to try harder, basically. And Shunza Tran's like, aren't we all just playing our parts? And then Shunza Tran looks down at Xiao Chuya and he says, that's a fine blade. And Xiao Chuya says, and the man isn't? And the man isn't? And so Shunza Tran's like, very inappropriate question, sir. And so he's like, I mean, you have a pretty good eye there. Most people wouldn't be able to see this as a good blade. And Shunza Tran is just like, well, when a man is appointed to some higher position, he's able to see quality where it is. He's like, it's just I'm sorry. He's like, everything you're wearing is quality. So I mean, it's clear to see it. You have your position and you're just looking good and everything. It was just a lucky guess. I mean, I didn't know it was actually a fine blade. I was just saying it's a fine blade, right? And so they just flirt some more. Shunza Tran is just like, you don't get praised a lot. I haven't even told you like what I'm really feeling for real, for real. And so they're talking about, his schemes or whatever. He's like, I got more schemes. You'll see them in the future. And their little chat is funny. I'm not going to go through everything, I promise. But Xiao Chuya is just having a very difficult time basically reading Shunza Tran. He's having a hard time knowing what's true, what's false with this man. He can't read him at all. And then he also lets Xiao Chuya, because he's about to leave, lets him know that he's got his thumb ring. He was like, you ever find that thing that you lost 5 years ago? And he's like, give it back. And he's like, I'll give it back if you do what I want you to do. And so I do have to point this out because Xiao Chuye was also like, the whole donkey thing. What I did in response, it wasn't for you. It was for me because I was upset. And so he was like, I don't want you to think that I'm doing this stuff for you because I wasn't. And then so he was like, so don't keep up your act and everything. And Shunza Tran is just like, if I don't, then like, what am I supposed to do then? Bite you again? Oh my gosh. And then Shunza Chen, he was like, you use your flesh to bewitch others. What do you expect when you look at me like that? And he was like, but I was born with these affectionate eyes. And he's like, it's such a waste. I'm sorry. I'm not going to reread this thing to y'all, but it was just. She said, gotta praise Kink Boo. Very possible. Oh my gosh. And so. And so Shunza Tran is basically like, I was born low, which he was. And he was like, if I don't scheme, what else am I supposed to do? And so then again, like I said, Xiao Chuya was like, well, what I did wasn't for you. So it was for my own sake. Then Shunza Tran says, the moon is beautiful tonight. Why do you spoil the mood? The reason I mentioned this is because of the particular sentence, the moon is beautiful tonight. 今晚的月色真美, which means the moon is beautiful tonight. But it is also a way for someone to confess their love. Did you guys know that? Did y'all know that? 今晚的月色真美. I love you. But also, the moon is very beautiful tonight. I love you. So I don't know if he's just messing around or if he was serious, but okay. Okay. So you said you learned it fairly recently. Yeah. And I think someone commented it on under that video as well. So hopefully other people that are reading it will see it cuz I didn't share any of my thoughts or anything at the end of that one. So hopefully they know or look in the comments or come back to this video later to actually see that. So anyway, gosh, moving forward. Um I lost my spot. So that's why the C dramas, they always be complimenting the night sky, the moon, and the male lead would stare passionately at the female lead. Pretty much. Yeah. So anyway, then we move on to page 201, where we have Li Jianheng, which is Prince Chu, just again, the idol prince of the emperor. But he's saying that it says here that he is lacking the usual aspirations expected of descendants of the imperial family. Because again, he's talking with Xiao Chuya and everything. And I'm just like, okay, is he truly this way or is he acting for his own protection? At this point in time, when I read, I was like, maybe he just doesn't want to seem like a threat to the emperor. Because if he does, then we always know how that turns out, right? Um, so is he really an idler? Is he really not caring about things that are happening in the country? So on and so forth. We'll see. And anyway, on the next page, that's where he actually verified that indeed they made Feng Quan eat the donkey. So anyway, he goes on talking about how he slept with Pandrugue's woman, the woman that the concubine or whatever that was supposed to be given to him, but Xiao Fuzi interfered and got her to Panrugue, which is why they beat him and all of that stuff. But he touched her. He slept with her. He was like, I wouldn't have had to do it if Panrugue was a real man. I mean, he's a real man. You can't be mad at him just because he ain't got no pureness. Actually, I think is how Jess from New Girl said it, pureness, because he's a eunuch. So anyway, so Xiao Chuya is just like, dude, I, are you kidding me? And then he even goes forward, Li Jianheng goes forward to say that we could give Shen Zhichuan to Panzhugue. What about that? He also informs Xiao Chuya that Feng Quan is this little concubine that Panzhugue has, her brother. So that's why he's been elevated into his position. But he's like, hey, don't you hate Shen Zhichuan? Doesn't your whole family hate him? We can give him to Panzhugue and then we can solve problems. Maybe I could take her then. And Xiao Chuya is like, you got donkey brain? Sorry, was it too soon? But he's like, dude, I thought you had something sensible to actually say, this is really, really dumb. I'm gonna go now. And so also, not that there are men out there actually inquiring about how much Shun Zichuan is going for because they want him so bad. Why? Why are we doing this, y'all? Can we not? Can we not? So anyway, um, you said write it out somewhere. What am I writing at? Wait, who's writing? I miss comments. Yee! You swore to stop commenting your thoughts. So write it out somewhere. What was the thing that I was supposed to write down that's a common expression in Mandarin? I don't remember. Does anybody else remember? Because I forgot that fast. But anyway, that ends. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Stacy. Okay, so let me do the I'm just put it here. Oopsie, I can't spell. Yeah, Chinese expression. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the aural behind, essentially. So I'm gonna put that here, tell you guys how to say that at some point later. Later. Sorry, I'm just trying to type it in. Henrik later. All you ever hear is later, Henrik. Henrik later. Yes, we know. Henrik, oh, Henrik, everyone agrees. Henrik, please. Henrik, you murmur. Okay, I got it. Cool. So now we can go on to chapter 21. You said maybe also the moon is beautiful tonight. I mean, yeah, I guess I could teach y'all that one. I haven't really read that anywhere except for in this one. But yes, the moon is beautiful tonight. Didn't we do that phrase on one of the previous books? Um Possibly, I don't know. But this is just for the actually no. I talked about the phrase because it was in another book. Talked about it and like elaborated on it, but did not tell you how to say it in Mandarin. That's what it was. You said you see it a lot in dramas. Okay. Yeah, I put it down so that we can wait, where is it? Oh, there it is. So that I can teach it to you all. But yeah, for Chinese New Year celebration, just so you know, we are doing no. For our Chinese New Year celebration, I'm going to be talking about all of the zodiacs, including the one for this year. And then we are going to go over one of the origins of a certain monster from Chinese New Year in Chinese history. And then I'm going to go over some common Chinese phrases and or idioms in Danmei. So yes, you are right. It was definitely mentioned in another series, but I don't remember. I don't think I told you all how to say it because at that time I didn't know how to say it. I just knew it in English. So um moving forward now to the final two chapters. Chapter 20 and 21. Chapter 20 is entitled Decisions. You said you commented this on Patreon video, but Peach Blossom Eyes. Yes, I have that on here. I have that. I'll just tell you guys what I have so far. I have taught this before. Didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A life worse than death. Love the house and the crows. Now we have the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the Oriole behind. This venerable one, just because there's so many venerables. Then we have so that was it, or so that's how it is, which I've taught before, but I'll just go over it again. The moon is beautiful tonight. The sun rises in the west. A mountain of blood in a sea of corpses. Peach blossom eyes. Bald donkey. I see coughing up blood. Yes. Okay. Coughing up blood. Yeah. This venerable one. I want that because there's so many venerable ones out there. Of course, obviously, we have like Wendren calls himself Venerable One. Um, there was one other person. Um, there was that one character. Um, crap. Oh, okay, yes, it's because it's because of Yen Wuxia. Yes, coughing up blood is like nosebleed in Japan. Yes, for it's it's for Yen Wuxia. But there are several people that say this venerable one. Okay, so don't call me out like that. So, so going to chapter 20, decisions. Get off my back. Get off of my back. That's a real song. We have on page, why is this note? I need to get a new sticky note because this one isn't sticking. Why are you called a sticky note if you don't stick? You should be called unsticky. What's happening? Hold on. I bought some new sticky notes and they are not doing it. I don't know what's going on. It's literally the exact same company, which is just Post-its, but they're not sticking and it's making me upset. He said Yen Wuxia calls himself. Oh, yep. You know what? Yeah, you're right. It's definitely him. Yeah, I didn't think Yen Wuxia. Oh Of course you did. So, anyway, on page 206, we have hold on. Okay. Anyway, so on page 206, we have Xiao Chuye and Shantitren talking with each other again, right? They're always talking to each other. And Xiao Chuye says specifically, we can turn the table on old grudges between us. Let bygones be bygones. So he's like, all the stuff that happened in the past, let's just forget about it. I mean, we'll see about that, but that is what he says. Xiao Chuye thinks that if Shunzitran planted someone, like he thinks Shunzitran planted someone by Prince Shu's side, um, and they must be like an ordinary person, some runner, some attendant, or something like that. And then we have on the very next page, oopsie, we have on the very easy for you to say. You don't have a boot imprint on your chest boot. So then on the next page, we have Xiao Chuye, I don't know what happened to my tongue, stating that he is willing to, like I said, let go of the past, all of that stuff. And then he talks a little bit. We get, not he, but on page 208, we have Grand Mentor T talking to Shunza Tren, the neck. Stop it. Talking about certain things that are going on. And it's mentioned that horses, horses do not have enough food to eat. We went from previously people having issues and not receiving their money, like the army not receiving their due compensation for their hard work to defend the great Joe, right? But now it's to the point, hands out of commission from laughing, where the horses don't have enough food to eat this year because the Bianshao lands aren't producing enough grass. What are we doing? And at this point, all of the memorials that have been sent to the emperor, he hasn't been getting them because he's ill. That's what it says, because he's ill. But anyway, if he passes, Prince Chu is the only one left to rise to the throne. Like he's the only option that can help the Xiao clan. And this is Grand Mentor T telling Shunzi Chuan this. So of course, Xiao Chuye feels a heavy burden, if you will, um, because he's cool with Prince Chu, but he also knows all of this stuff as well. So it's just like, whew. Um, yeah. You said LOL drinking game. Not today. So, hold on. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, just making sure I'm reading everything. But yeah, so he's going on explaining all of this and everything. They're going over like the Chudu map and just explaining things to what's his name, because he's still what's his name, to Mentor T, because he's still in the Temple of Guilt. So he needs to get updates on things, but also he's well versed in the things of the past, of course. And so he shares that with Shanzatran. But they're going over the map of Chudu and saying that basically, of course, we already knew this. Xiao Shiye was kept in this capital as a hostage for Li Bei because Shen Zitran was like, well, you know, why doesn't Xiao Jiming just act? And of course, it's like, well, Xiao Chiya is here. The Empress Dowager has him in her grasp. So how in the world can Xiao Jiming act at all? And so Grand Mentor Chi is just like, well, let me ask you about Xiao Chuye actually, because like in your opinion, what kind of person is he? And so he's like, he's sharp, he's smart, he's unconventional, and he has a really nice body. He didn't say that, but you know, he was thinking it, so he said it. You have more suspicions about the memorials, can you say? No? Okay. Back to work. We'll see you later, Stacy. We're almost done anyway, so you've only got a little bit left to read, right? So, but yeah, he's like, I think he's this, is that. And so Grand Mentor T is like, honestly, I think that he is the perfect opportunity for the Libe to turn the tide because he's a prodigy. And so, of course, Shunta Tran's like, why are you saying this? And he goes on to basically just talk about, hold on, the details. Let's see, and these are details continuing obtained from the Ministry of War. Yes. So in the first year of Xianda, we're going back into the past when Xiao Chuye was 14 and he followed his brother Xiao Jiming into battle against the Bian Sha. Now, this was also in the heat of summer, just so you guys know. It was hot, right? And Xiao Jiming was besieged by three tribes on the eastern side of the Hongyan mountain range, and his retreat was cut off. So that meant his reinforcements could not get there as fast. Like his father, their father, had sent reinforcements, but it was going to take time because their retreat was cut off, their path was cut off. Now, though Libe is powerful, they don't do well with prolonged fighting and a bunch of back and forth. So, like advance, retreat, which is what the Biansha people were doing because they're very agile and they have the stamina for this type of thing. Like the Libe army, they're just very good at blow and go, if you will. And so this was going to be an issue for them because eventually they would tire out. So, unbeknownst to the Ministry of War, this information was kept intentionally from them. It was Xiao Chuye who lay in waiting in order to bring things over to their favor in this weird back and forth of fighting. So what he did, and there was three days. On the first day and the second day, he was chilling. He was like relaxing on his settee or whatever, not really. But then on the third day, this man was crawling through some trenches that he dug to Biansha's camp, and he burned their heavily guarded provisions. And the reason he was able to do this is because 2 of the 3 days he sat there and did nothing, allowing the Biansha army to grow confident that, okay, we're about to win this battle, we're about to win this war. And so of course their diligence in monitoring their provisions, their diligence in just staying on alert went down. And that allowed him and only 2 other people, dude, it's crazy. Just 3 people total, you and 2 others. But that allowed them to sneak to where the provisions were and burn them. Because if they ain't got no food, they can't rejuvenate their stamina, you know? So it was very smart. And he's like, so that's what he did. And that was kept from the Ministry of War. So all of these people in the capital are thinking that Xiao Chuye is just some lazy daisy guy who's idling around now, minding his P's and Q's, minding his business, and just having fun as a young bachelor, if you will. But no, that guy is very smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is not all bronze and no brain. He is double B, bronze and brain. Okay. So he was like, they suppressed this news, this really remarkable thing. Because he could have made a name for himself as this great thing, but instead he's made a name for himself as an idler, if you will, exactly like Prince Chu. So it's like Prince Chu, he's an idler and he's got a military guy right beside him, but he's an idler as well. So what do we have to fear from anything happening on that front, right? We don't have anything to fear. And so Grand Mentor Chi was really singing his praises because he was like, he acted at just the right time. He didn't go on the first day, he didn't go on the second day, he went on the third day. But even on the third day, he could have been too late, but he went at precisely the right time. And he's like, that's crazy. Okay. Super crazy. Any later, and his army could have died. Any sooner, and he could have died, and then the army could have died. So, it's just like double B. Did I say that? I said that. Apparently I did. You say, yeah, teacher was. He is meticulous and patient and genius. LOL. Pretty much same vibe as Jiming a few chapters back about Lanzhou. He's dangerous. Yeah. Did you dot me? So anyway, so yeah, they're talking about all of that. And then he's just like, hold on, let me look at my notes before I start looking over at this. So yeah, he's basically like he's where he needs to be to push things forward for them at the right time. And he's like, honestly, all you need to worry about right now is whose side you're going to be on. Are you going to be on the Empress Dowager side, or are you going to be on Prince Chu's side? Prince Chu's side. That is what's most important. He was like, if you ever get into a situation like don't put yourself in this dogfight. He was like, just be still right now. Don't put yourself on anyone's team at the moment. Think thoughtfully. Think thoughtfully. I guess you can think unthoughtfully. Think carefully about your decisions. What are you going to do? Who are you going to choose? Don't do anything while you're in the process of making the decision. Because if you do something before you have truly thought it through, then you're essentially sticking yourself with whatever decision you make. You're stuck with that decision and you have to keep on that decision. So, just yes, be neutral for now. So, then let's see, where's my next note? So that was the end of that chapter. Then we move to the final chapter we're discussing today. And that is Autumn Hunt. Does that sound ominous to you? Anyway, so in this, we have the emperor's health has actually improved. Yay! His health has improved, and he wants to do the autumn hunt in the 10th month. For us, that would be October, instead of like usual in November or the 11th month, because it's going to be colder, obviously. And I mean, his health has improved. We don't want it to get back down again. You said fell over, so it left me speechless. I mean, again, so that's what the three dots were for. Sorry. So, anyway, the hunt has been moved to October. And then Shan Zitren was also moved out of the Temple of Guilt because now that he is in his position and everything, I think it was Xiao Tianya that was like, dude, like, you can't be staying in the Temple of Guilt anymore. You're in part of the embroidered uniform guard. Get yourself a home. Okay. And so he goes in pursuit of this person called Song Yue, who his mentor told him to find. He was like, this person will take care of your day-to-day your day-to-day stuff. They'll take good care of you. And so when he's going to look for this person, who does he run into? Xiao Chuya. Because we can't go a chapter without them running into each other. It wouldn't make they drive the story. Their flirtations are what drive the story. So anyway, let me make sure I'm not skipping any notes. You said so. Sip water again, everyone. Let me get it ready. I'm putting it right here. So anyway, they're going out and looking. He's got Good Ting Ting with him as well to help him. And they're like, well, I don't know where to find this person. Do you know where to go? No, we don't know where to go, but we're going to look for him. And they go to a specific area. I'm trying to remember. I guess the specific area they went to search is not necessarily important. But anyway, wait, hold on. There we go. I was like, why is my thing not turning correctly? All right. So anyway, he runs into Xiao Chuye, and they have their little. Let me go to the page. That way we can drink together. Oh, they're on Donglong Street. That's what it was. Hold on, because we're gonna. So I have to point this out because I was like, I've never recognized anyone this way before. Maybe I'll give it a try. But Xiao Chuye and Chun Yang, his right hand man, are on Donglong Street, right? They're on the market investigating the origins of some staff of Prince Chu's manor. But then it says that Xiao Chuye raised a hand when Chunyang was like, "Hey, isn't that?" And it said he strode out of the broker's end and caught sight of a familiar nape. He saw a familiar nape. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever recognized anyone by the back of their neck before. Like, what? How is that possible? All necks look the same to me. I need to step up my game and study my husband's neck, the front, the sides, and the back, because clearly I'm not doing things right here. Like, I see NFS. I finally see this little GIF you put in the chat on Discord. Shout your yeah when he sees the neck. Oh my gosh. But like, how are we seeing a neck and instantly knowing who it is? So anyway, maybe there's a secret tattoo. I feel like it would have been mentioned by now. So anyway. Whew, okay. Let me just 20 That was some very loud swallowing. Oh my god. I'm just gonna get myself together. I'm sorry, y'all. Just bear with me for a moment. So anyway, Shanzatran spots him, and because he felt a chill down his neck, because his neck, the nape of his neck, was being stared at so like intently, and then he's like, "Oh, what an honor! What are you doing looking back?" And then so Xiao Chuge was like, "I was looking at you." He didn't even deny it. He was like, "I was looking at you, of course. Are you here to buy a servant?" And so then Shanzatran was like, "No, I'm here to sell myself." It was like, oh my gosh, he was like, I'm selling myself. How could I afford to buy someone else? And so then Xiao Chuya is just like, man, you've already been reduced to this. Shame. And he was like, hey, but there are plenty of people that are seeking to pay high prices for you, baby. And then so he was like, oh, in that case, well, sentiment must be involved. And then so Shunza was like, they have to catch my eye before I figure out if I want to accept their offer or not, because people are willing to pay a big price for me. Let me see which price I want to pay. And so then Xiao was like, it can't be easy choosing between cracked dates and mishappen pairs. So he's like, anybody that you choose, like you're choosing some rotten fruit or some bruised fruit. Like they ain't got nothing on me, baby. That's not what he said, but that's what he was saying. Looking at your neck. Let me look at I'm gonna look at these comments in a second. Yes, he definitely has an obsession with necks. And so he's like, yeah, you're choosing between the wrong things, basically, all those people. And he was like, I'm sure you wouldn't know because you eat well at Prince Chu's side. And so, of course, Xiao Chuya was like, are you envious? Come with me. And Shen Zichuan was like, yeah, I'm not that desperate. And then he's like, I'm not going to trouble you any further. I'm going to get going now. And Xiao Chuya's like, no, don't go. No, he was just like, no hurry. Basically, he was like, we still have to look out for each other during the autumn hunt. And so Shunta Tran is like, how in the world am I going to look out for you? Basically, he was like, we don't have any common ground. The Imperial Army and the embroidered uniform guard do not have any common ground. And Xiao Chuya was like, well, you keep me at such a distance. If I visit you a little bit more often, if I stretch out my legs, then we can find some common ground. Okay. And I can stare at the nape of your neck a lot longer. So Shuntratren did not reply to that, and he left. And so, of course, they're wondering like who he's looking for. And then Xiao Chuya is like, hey, there's Good Ting Ting again. Look into this dude. I need to do a professional background check on him. Not one of those ones that take 48 hours, but one of those background checks that you got to pay more money and you get it back in like 24 hours. Because I want to know more about this guy. So, background check. Now that their interaction is done and I've drunk from Twintian, let me look at you guys' comments. Seems napes are essential in Danmei. Aren't they though? Sultry eyes and nape magic tattoo? Probably. Looking at your neck. My neck? No, I'm kidding. At least he didn't offer to buy him. I mean, he basically did, but he didn't. You're right, he didn't. He was just like, come with me. All the while joking about how they're both broke. Right. But I wouldn't put it past them though, since their money be getting delayed. Well, the embroidered uniform guard probably they get their money on time. The Imperial Guard though, yeah, he has an obsession with a neck, a certain neck. Today's English lesson: neck versus the neck, not the neck, but the neck. For anyone who did not know, there are times when you use the versus the, and I mean when it's spelled the same way, not THEE, because the is like you. But so the you would use if the following word starts with a consonant. The you use if the following word starts with a vowel, like the apple, the banana. But a lot of times, what we do as well is we'll use the, even if the word doesn't start with a vowel, we will use the if we want to stress something is like the one, like it's this one. Like when it comes to, I'm trying to give an example. Let's just say like a really popular person, and you say, oh, yeah, that's the Beyonce. Why were we putting it like the does not need to be there? You can say that's the Beyonce, but it sounds weird. So we would say that's the Beyonce, or because I was just reading a fanfic yesterday, that's the Katsuki Bakugo. So anyway, that's just something really random that no one asked for, but the more you know. So going back to the main story. So yes, he's like, okay, let's do this. Meanwhile, after that little interruption, Shantatran didn't really have any other opportunities to look for Song Yue because he was derailed by him. Nevertheless, he is given a new assignment. His assignment is to go with the emperor to Nanlin hunting grounds. This is where, well, this is where the hunt is going to happen, right? And the emperor sends Feng Quan to give him another assignment. So aside from accompanying the emperor to the hunting grounds, he has to take care of, actually, let me go to the exact page. Hold on. Butterfly in the sky. What page is this on? Did I not put the page? Apparently I did not. Hold on a second. Because I want to read exactly what the note said, because I want to show you guys as well. All right, so I need to pull up Canva so that I can draw this out, or at least I'm going to attempt to draw this out. I'm not sure if I can. You said medieval European kings, Chinese emperors were going on a hunt. Everyone else, oh dear. Pretty much. Pretty much. I saw this movie once before where it was like a bunch of, sorry, but a bunch of white guys were in some cabin for a vacation, and they had this black guy there, and they were about to have a hunt. And they were like, okay, we'll give you a head start. I don't remember how much time he had, but they were like, yeah, we'll give you, I don't know, 2 hours to run. And then eventually we're going to come hunt. I was like, okay, sure. I don't remember the name of that movie. I wish I could. But it was crazy. So I was just like, whoa, okay. Anyway, I digress. So he was given a piece of paper, basically, and Feng Tran was telling him, this is something that's so important that I needed to come in person. Because you were favored because you were favored by the Empress Dowager and she got you out of the Temple of Guild, all of this mess, you owe her a favor, basically. And so he hands him a piece of paper. Well, I'm sorry, it's a strip of cloth, not a piece of paper. And it says lean. Now, in this description, it says that the same character that is made up the top half of Chu. I'm going to show this for those of you who don't have the book, but Shun Zitran's thought process is that he has to take care of Prince Chu. In other words, kill him. And he's saying he will try his best. But it's also clear that, like, because Feng Tran is like, if you can't do this, then there's no point in keeping you around. But if you do, the Empress will keep treating you as her dog, her obedient dog, rather her donkey, if you will. So really quickly, let me show you. Let me see if I can. Actually, I might be able to just write it on my phone. Can I draw on here? I can. Okay. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Butterfly in the sky. Yeah. All right. We're just going to go over to this little spot right here. So, draw. The character Lean looks like this. Not y'all making my writing look so good. Oh my gosh. Sorry, y'all. So anyway, that's part of it. And then, that line should have been longer, but that's okay. And I meant to bring that all the way down. That one was not as pretty. Hold on. We're gonna do all of this again. Hold on. Okay. There we go. And then boom, boom. Because that one curves longer. There we go. So that is the character Lean, which means woods or forest. And they're going to some hunting grounds, which is quite ironic, right? You said 1 tree, 2 tree, 3 tree. Basically, it does look like trees, and it means woods or forest. So then when we look at Prince Chu's name, you see your stroke. I never care about my stroke order. If there is one thing that I have learned is that stroke order is totally irrelevant. Like, that is just something that they teach you that stuff and it matters, but it doesn't, basically. So we're going to go on because who cares? As long as it comes out correct. So on top of Prince Chu's name, we have this. Boom. That's Prince Chu's name. So take care of Lean. Not really, though. Take care of Prince Chu. So that's just for anyone to see in case you don't have the official translation and you didn't know, like, what in the world, what that meant. So now we can move forward with my oddly nice looking characters. I'm not, maybe I should write on my thingy more often. Anyway, you said you were tortured by your teachers, so all you can do now is write, not judge. Yeah, to me, like, honestly, and I've talked to a couple people about it before, specifically, obviously, Chinese people. Even they do it wrong as far as the writing order. And so it's like, it's not important. All that matters is that you wrote the character. So, and I just also felt like the more I stressed on trying to write things in the right order, the my time wasn't optimized. Like I got through less because I'm sitting here like, wait, did I do that in the right order? It's like I was supposed to be spending time on learning the language and getting familiar with how the character looks, not getting familiar with what order to write it in. And since I, was teaching myself, I also didn't give two craps. In Japanese. Yeah, for this it means both. Tree or forest. Just depends on the context, I guess. Um, you said you don't care about stroke order either. Because it doesn't matter. Like the end result is the same, basically. You don't have time for calligraphy. Now it's all typed anyway. Yeah. And it is one of those things if you are getting into Chinese calligraphy where it would be more important, but like for everyday writing, who cares? So let me get out of this. Let me also okay. So anyway, that's his assignment, right? That's what he's got to do. Kill Prince Chu. How in the world he's going to get that opportunity? Who freaking knows? So as we continue on, though, we have Xiao Chuye going to advise Prince Chu. And this is why I say, how in the world is he going to kill Prince Chu? Because Xiao Chuye tells Prince Chu, do not leave, do not go anywhere without telling me first. Never go anywhere without your guards, and no women are allowed in your tent whatsoever. Mind you, Prince Chu was like, I didn't bring any women. And then Chun Yang is like, yeah, I sent them all back. At least I think it was Chun Yang that said it. That was really funny. Let me see. I think it was him. I guess it doesn't matter who said it. But anyway, Xiao Tianya also advises Shun Zichen because he's like, dude, like you need some weapons on you. Can we get you some weapons somewhere, anywhere on your body? Like, why don't you have one? And then he's like, Shun Zichen was basically like, all of it's too heavy. Weapons are too heavy for me. And he's like, bro, this body of yours. He's like, look, I would love to just shank Xiao Chuye for you because you're my good brother. But I can't. It's like, so anyway, we have that. Then let me see. Actually, I think that might be the end. Oh, I think I said because of that on page 221, I just like Xiao Tianya even more just because it was funny because he was like, I would shrink him for you if I could. But anyway, that is where we are. That was the end of chapter 21. So from 14 to 21, that's the plot. I hope that was broken down in the most simple terms ever of exactly what happened. Y'all, this book has been so good to me. It's been such a joy to read. I am going to put this in full screen now and share my screen again. You said if you start learning it as an adult, so you are backlog and just learn to recognize them. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I actually found it very easy to learn characters. Like a lot of them are similar. Oops, I didn't use that one. But the characters aren't that terrible. Are some like Wa and and another one Qian. I'm like, why are y'all like this? Wa Qian. Why are y'all looking almost the same? But anyway, here is the map, which Cookielicious, I also just want to thank you for still sending the map that you did because it helped me put this one together. Because at first, like I had things in a certain way, and then I was like, crap, I got to rearrange it because I can't connect these characters together. So I did use that to help me a little bit, but otherwise, I have created this map for you guys. This technically goes up to chapter 25, but we are going to go over everything here basically. Like this isn't a spoiler of seeing these three characters down here, which based on chapter 25, I don't necessarily know the connection of these characters yet, which is why they're off to the side. So obviously We have Japanese is the worst. Yeah, don't they have like 3 different writing methods? Please spare me. But so here, of course, we have Lanzhou or Shenzhen and Xiaochuye or Ci'an. Obviously, Shenzhen is now the member of the Embroidered Uniform Guard. He's a part of the elephant training. Xiaochuye is the supreme commander of the Imperial Army. Yay! We're going to start with Xiaochuye just because his connections are much, much smaller. So I did miss the U. Look, that's an easy fix. Hold on. Unlock. Boom. Okay, problem solved. Lock it again. And then because I literally copy and pasted unlock. Oh, wait, no, I just locked it. What am I doing? Thank you. Okay, locked. Now, let's go back. So with Xiao Chuya, we have his dad, who's only been mentioned like once, I think, but his name is Xiangfu. He is the Prince of Libei. That's how he's been named as Prince of Libei, but his name is Xiao Xiangfu. At this current moment, he hasn't really played an important role yet. Then we have his right hand man in the Imperial Army, Chun Yang. So you said shushes and wagtail. Yes. Then we have his brother. His older brother is Xiao Jiming. He's one of the 4 great generals, that being him, Lu Guangbai, and the only other one who's come on the scene, Qi Juyin. You said yes, he was missing. No, you's not missing. You's been put back. You's been put back. So those are the 3 of the 4. We haven't heard of the 4th one, so I'm not putting it there. Okay? All right. So that's very small. I think that's very understandable. Those are all the connections on that side. It's when we get to Shunzitran where everything gets kind of chaotic. Okay? Let's start with his parents. His father, Shunwei, deceased. I meant to make his name look like that. But anyway, his father, also let me go in. Shunwei got with the courtesan Bai Cha and had beautiful Shunzitren. Now, aside from Shunzitren, we have the origin of drumming discussed already? No. No. Mm-mm. So when we go up, we have Jigong, who is his adoptive father, but also his shifu, his teacher, martial teacher, if you will. And this shifu of his was the husband of Hua Pingting. She's gone, so her name should have been highlighted as well. But anyway, their child, Jimu, the one who saved Shunzitran in the Chashire sinkhole, he's gone. Okay, that's why his name looks like that. Yeah, you think the thumb rings in the next chapters? Yes, that should be in the next chapters. Um, I don't remember at this exact moment. Like I have to review my notes, so I'm not sure. So anyway, so that's their connection. Then we have Ji Gong again, Shun Zitran's adoptive father. He is the son of Ji Wufan, who was the former commander of the Embroidered Uniform Guard. Don't yes, please don't jump the gun. Well, you said shark, but don't jump the gun. So Wu Jifan is Jigong's father, adoptive father, but also the adoptive father of Ji Lei, the chief commander of the Embroidered Uniform Guard, aka the guy who interrogated Shunzitran, aka the one who sent the message with the donkey, the bastard. And his godfather is Pandrugui, which Pandrugui is mentioned twice. There was no way I was going to draw an arrow all the way from here to there, but he's his godfather. So then we have Ge Qingqing, who is a member of the Embroidered Uniform Guard. That's it. Nothing else connecting him right now at this moment. And then we have partners in crime, Xi Hongxuan, the one who said something to incite the scholars right here. And Xi Guan is his older brother, who is the military commissioner of the 8th grade battalions. Just imagine how much more confusing it is with all the other characters. It's one of those things you just gotta look at little by little. That's what I would say. Like, honestly, character charts, I don't think they're made to look not confusing. Yeah, that's what I would say. The character charts are not made to look not confusing. They're just made for you to look very intently and put lines together, is what I would say, which is why you have to look at the lines. And for some people who use arrows, also look at the arrows, which there was one arrow in here that I had to correct. I don't remember, but that's okay. So yeah, like looking at it just on the spot, it's like, wow, that looks very confusing. Which is why we have to zoom in. You say you think it's because arrows are better to be lines than arrows. Sometimes arrows can be confusing. LOL. The heart looks oh, be cupified. I guess be cupided. Yes, exactly. So I think for me personally, the arrows are better. Just this is a personal thing because it shows like this person is such and such in relation to who. Like for example, um mm, I was trying to look for one thing. Actually, I don't feel like looking for it. Okay, like for example, right here, if there was no arrow and it just said father, to me, it's like, okay, who's the father? Shun's trend or Shunwei. And of course, could I put it in the parentheses? Yes, but kind of want to keep the parentheses from being overwhelmed because for someone like Shun's trend, we have member of the embroidered uniform guard, elephant training, son, lover. Like it's too much to be going inside of there. So that's why I personally have the arrows. But if you guys don't like it, feel free to use that other chart. This is for anyone who may like arrows like me. Anyway, so then where were we? Yes, Xiao Tianya, he's the judge in the embroidered uniform guard. So far, no attachments to that character. Then here we have Grand Mentor T. This person's name is T Hui Lian, and he is not only Shunzi Tran's mentor, but he is also the previous prince's crown prince's mentor. You like cork boards? In any way, shape, or form. I think I'd have to look that up. I don't know what those look like. And then we have, so yeah, I was like, is it just their dad? I guess I assume. The Xianda Emperor, his name is Li Jianyuan. The Empress Dowager literally mentioned his name one time. Otherwise, my brain just thinks Xianda Emperor. Mm. Yeah, I think I saw the most recent one Cookielicious shared when it was just like on a chart and going across, and I was just like, no, for me personally. And then, of course, we have Prince Chu or Li Jianheng. These guys are brothers. This is the older brother. Then we're almost done, you guys. Empress Dowager, part of the Hua clan. I need to move that arrow down, but she is the lawful mother of the Shanda Emperor. Okay. And then she is the aunt of Hua Xiangyi, someone who hasn't been very important in the plot yet, but she's just the favored niece. She's the third lady of the Hua clan, and she likes her niece a lot. Then we have Panju Gui again, and you said adoptive mother, though. Saying that's a what? You need a well rested brain for this line nightmare. Well, use one of the character charts that are inside of the thingamabobber. Don't use it. Don't use this one if you don't want to. What were you saying that to? NFS? Because you said adoptive mother, though. Are you correcting something or just saying? While I wait for that, Pandrugwe is her subordinate, the Empress Dowager's subordinate, and he's the director of Directorate of Ceremonial Brush. Which let me just say, director of, it's supposed to say of, like I said, I still have to go through this, but director of directorate. Why are we doing that with the title of this group? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Anyway, then we have his eunuch. I didn't put Xiaofuzi here because Xiaofuzi is dead. Xiaofuzi is kind of irrelevant at this moment, but this is his his grand godson, basically. And then Hwasa Chan was mentioned. Right now, all I know is that they're partners in crime. Don't know anything else. But he is also the brother to the Empress Dowager. Hold on. Nope, we didn't mention those people. Well, we didn't mention that last one. Last one we have is Hai Liangyi, who was mentioned, I think, literally in passing among the scholars because of Yao Wenyu, a talented pupil. That's it. That's literally all we got about them. Literally, that's it. So, let me stop sharing. You said the crown prince is the brother of the emperor, the oldest brother of the princess. His whole family was killed because blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, oh no, you're fine. So, based on where we are in the story, we weren't given full details on who exactly the previous crown prince was. So, I didn't know if it was a dad or a brother. So, that's why it was a question mark. um, but okay. So the previous crown prince above Sianda Emperor is apparently the older brother. There we have it. So anyway, that's the chart up to chapter 25. Not anything later. All of the rest of that is in the character chart that is on the Discord. Honestly, this was a lot trying to create the character chart. It was way too much. I was like, I don't want to do this ever again. So I won't be doing that ever again. I mean, maybe as people are added, I can, but probably not. I'll just stick to what has been put in the Discord, but at least to have a spoiler free character chart, I did this because I took a look at the character chart that's currently in Discord, the very first one, and I was spoiled on some things. Like, I'm not upset, but I was spoiled on some things because I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that was that connection. So I felt it was vital to just have something that we can look at and not be spoiled by knowing this character is related to that one and that one already before we've even gotten there in the plot. Not to mention, there are just so many different names. And to me, it was just like, okay, we haven't come across these names yet. So I don't want to see these names yet. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that is pretty much it for today. We Patreoners on the highest tier only do have a live reading session tomorrow at 11 a.m., I believe. 1 second. Yeah, at 11 a.m. So we will be meeting to read at least 4 chapters, if not 5, depending on the tempo. You said thank you for making this. You're welcome. I'll be sure to put it in the thingamabobber after I check and make sure all the arrows are pointing the right way. And if there are sections where there don't need to be arrows, I will take them off. There's just the way my brain processed it. I was like, I like the arrows. So anyway, that you guys should get it sometime today. You said just ask AI to build a character chart for you. I don't know, because with how many characters there are and their positions and everything, I honestly was like, if I were to ask ChatGPT to do it, I feel like there would be a mistake in there somewhere. Now, don't get me wrong, there are mistakes clearly from what I have done as well, but I can go and fix my mistakes. What I have found sometimes with ChatGPT when it comes to having them create an image for me is if when I asked them to when in the past when I've asked it, hey, create this for me, it would leave something out accidentally. Not every time, but it would leave something out. So then I'd go in there and be like, hey, put this in there because you forgot to put blah, blah, blah. And so it will put that in there, but then it would change something. I'm like, what, why did we change from what I asked you for? So a lot of times when it comes to many things, I don't ask AI to generate the imagery for me. Most of the time, I may ask it to if I am making a post and it's a long post, and I just get all of my thoughts out, and I'm like, "Hey, organize this post description so that I can put it there." I'll have it do that. Otherwise, I tell it what to write myself because when it comes to generating, images and stuff like that, I just don't find it really trustworthy because it leaves something out or it changes something. Meanwhile, you asked it. Like, even times where I literally asked, "Hey, keep this, but change that." It's changed the thing I asked it to keep. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So, yeah, I'm not really dealing with it and all of that stuff. You said the story is so well paced, you gradually adapt. Yes, I do think the pacing of it is amazing. Like, I'm not, mind you, this is only book 1, but I feel like I'm not having a difficult time keeping up with what's going on. And because I'm taking such extensive notes, I think that also helps my brain to retain the information. Um, so yeah, I do appreciate that. You said, "How far are you along with the Copper Coins recordings?" Um, Next out, I think I'm recording chapter hold on. I am currently recording chapters 20, 19, and 20 of volume 2. I'm pretty far along. Like, I think I'm almost halfway done with the second volume, and of course the third volume doesn't release until April. So yeah. You said you don't trust AI. Never trust a hashtag never trust AI easily. Yeah, there are some things I trust it with, but other things I don't, because I mean, at the end of the day, AI is in a lot of stuff. Like, even for people who use Grammarly, that is also AI. So yeah, it depends on the type of AI. Um, you said you know too many people hired to fix ChatGPT mistakes. Dang. That's crazy. You trust AI less than bunnies and emperors. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I've made it pretty far in Copper Coins. Just so you know, it's Sue. Um, I'm not really like, it's not being consistently released until, well, I'm on my break after my surgery, but this is a slow read, so I know it may not necessarily be favorable. Some people might wait until we get to, like, more of the videos released, but it was supposed to be just released, like, a few chapters weekly. But for my surgery, you're gonna get all the rest of volume 1. So there will be a chapter released this coming Sunday, then the next Sunday, um, and then it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday after my surgery. So yeah, um, I've read a lot of it, but it's just not posted. That content is actually gonna be really helpful for me in regards to when I need to take a break, like for my surgery. You said the chart is pretty well built. I'll just need to check it another time thoroughly to get the mess unmessed. Yeah, I know. I kind of just threw it on the page. So I mean, threw it on the screen. So absolutely. I'm just gonna go through it and then I'll have it to you guys sometimes later. You said you can do them mistakes your own with less influence to the climate. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that's basically what I'm like. I'll just do it myself. I usually ask now ChatGPT to edit like something that I've written or to help me just word something better. Um, you don't think it clearly mentioned what was the relationship with the current emperor. You also assume he's the son. Don't know. Yeah, that's what apparently someone said who he was already, but because Grand Mentor Chi didn't say who it was, I didn't say who it was. Because we have not been given that specific piece of information. So, I'm gonna say we don't know who it was. The previous crown prince. We don't know if it was the dad or the brother. I'm sticking with that story. So that's why it was a question mark. You said you got lost in the lag. You think it was already said she cherishes the Hua Lady Princess because she has no children of her own. Yes, the Empress Dowager does not have any children of her own. Yeah. Um, so what was I saying? Oh, I think I was answering something about copper coins, and then we got sidetracked with ChatGPT and AI. So yes, that is pretty much it for today. Like I said, we do have a live tomorrow for the head disciples of Patreon. So hope to see you there. Any other announcements? I do have an announcement. I'm not going to elaborate on it though. There will be a video that is released today. I actually literally just have to upload it. You guys don't have to watch it, but it's a very short video explaining something that is on my channel that is being removed from my channel. And I express why it's being removed from my channel. So just be on the lookout for that. Um, oh, that was a comment I already read. Let's see. I did not bring my calendar in here, but I do know that next week it is, hold on, the 12th through the 15th. I want to find a day where we can talk about the chapters, discuss some chapters again before we end this volume, because we are going to end this volume next week. And what I will do is for whatever day we discuss, it'll be the chapters from, mm, well, I'll figure that out. The point is, I want us to meet again one more time next week before my surgery, before I go on a 1 to 2 week break, just so we can have a full understanding of volume one before we take a break, enjoy copper coins, and then come back for volume two. So I'm thinking maybe we could just do Thursday, January the 15th again. I mean, not again, but January the 15th at the same time. So 2 p.m. How do y'all feel about that? Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, we've got, because I'm reading Saturday, then for Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to read on Thursday. Yeah, I think I should be having a video released on Friday, even though that's surgery day, because I recorded on Thursday. So you said dab. Okay. Okay, cool. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you guys have a good day. For those of you who have not read chapters 20 through 25, please do. I am still going to practice some self-control and not read chapters 26 through however much. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. Oh my gosh. You said when emoji feels old. Yes. Oh gosh. You said sure fam, lol. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions or comments for me before I go? Also, hold on. Now that we've gotten through all of this, I need to actually bookmark it. Whoa. What's my favorite scene so far? That's hard. That's really difficult. But I think I can't tell you my favorite scene thus far because it's in the chapters that we've that we did not discuss with each other. Um, my favorite scene is in chapter. Yep, it's in chapter 25. You said up to here. Okay. My favorite scene up to here then. Give me a second. I'm trying to think. That's hard. I don't think there's necessarily any particular scene that is like my absolute favorite at this current moment. I'm really just loving everything. Yeah. I know that might be like, oh, we really want you to have a favorite scene. I don't have one. I'm going to try to give one. But like, if I had to choose a favorite scene, I think it would be the opening of chapter 19, Truth and Lies. After the party, after all the donkey roast and everything, with Shunja Chen and Xiao Chuya interacting with each other. Well, actually, ending chapter 18, going into chapter 19, and them flirting with each other, but also Xiao Chuya just trying to like read this man that he's having an impossibly hard time reading. I just really like their banter. Anyway, I don't have a true favorite scene though, because it's hard. The entire thing is good. Like honestly, as weird as it is, I also like the scene with the 3,000 scholars rioting or like bending on their knees and just like, this corruption, we won't stand for it. So I like that scene and just how that whole thing was handled. You said yours too. Ha! The pot and put it on his credit because it was so funny, right? So anyway, since there are no more questions other than that one, thank you for asking because I sure didn't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. My other scene, favorite scene that we haven't reached yet is the one that has a picture for it. If I'm sure you can, if you have the book NFS, then you know what I'm talking about because I think it's the next picture that we have outside of Yao and Yu. Let me see. Yeah, it's the next picture we have in chapter 25. So I hope you all have an excellent day and or night. You're fine with anything. Cool. And for those of you who I will see tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow. For those of you who I will see on Monday, but not really see, but more so like, just releasing a video, then I'll see you on Monday. So love you guys. Well, I Neiman. And I'll see you next time. Bye 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 bye.